Most people think they understand Social Security. They've heard the advice so many times that it starts to feel like fact. Wait until 70. Take it early before it runs out. If you don't delay, you're leaving money on the table. And usually the confidence behind those statements is stronger than the understanding behind them, because Social Security isn't a decision about one number. It's a decision about how income, taxes, investments, longevity, and family dynamics interact over decades. When Social Security is coordinated well, it becomes one of the most reliable inflation-adjusted income sources available to you in retirement. When it's coordinated poorly, it quietly costs people tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars without them ever realizing what went wrong. Today, I want to slow this down and help you think about Social Security the way a planner does, not the way the internet does. If we haven't met yet, I'm Phil. I'm a certified financial planner and the founder of Flying Forward Wealth Management. I work with retirees, pre-retirees, and business owners who want clarity, not complexity, for its own sake. People who want decisions that actually support the life they want to live, not just spreadsheets that look good on paper. My definition of wealth is simple. It's the freedom and ability to choose what you do with your time and your money. And Social Security, when coordinated intentionally, plays a much larger role in that freedom than most people realize. The reason Social Security advice is so bad online isn't because people are dishonest. It's because the system is complex and complexity doesn't compress well into rules of thumb. Most advice reduces the decision to a break-even chart. Claim at 62, claim at full retirement age, claim at 70, pick the option with the biggest lifetime payout. The math itself is often correct. The conclusion usually isn't, because those charts assume no taxes, no portfolio withdrawals, no spousal coordination, no survivor planning, no market volatility, no flexibility, and no real life. Retirement is not static, and Social Security is not a standalone decision. So let's start with the foundation. Social Security is not funded by federal income taxes, it's funded by payroll taxes. You pay 6.2% of your wages, your employer pays another 6.2%, and that tax only applies up to an annual wage cap that increases over time. That design tells us something important. Social Security was never meant to fully replace income for high earners. It was designed to provide a reliable, inflation-adjusted base of income in retirement. That intent shapes everything else in the system. Your Social Security benefit is based on your 35 highest earning years, adjusted for inflation. If you worked fewer than 35 years, the missing years are filled with zeros. Those earnings then go through a formula that weighs lower earnings far more heavily than higher earnings. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of Social Security. The first dollars you earn over your lifetime count far more towards your benefit than the last dollars. Social Security is progressive by design. That means someone who earned half as much as another worker often receives much more than half the benefit. This structure creates planning opportunities that most people never consider, especially later in life. And one of the simplest ways to improve a future Social Security benefit is also one of the least discussed. Avoid zeros. If you don't have 35 years of earnings, even modest income later in life can materially increase your benefit. This doesn't mean working full-time, staying in a high-stress job, or chasing income at the expense of lifestyle. It can mean consulting, seasonal work, part-time income, flexible roles that fit into your version of retirement. Replacing a zero with even a low earning year often increases your benefit more than people expect because of how heavily those early dollars are weighed. This shows up frequently with parents who stayed home to raise children, early retirees, career switchers, people with employment gaps. Sometimes the goal isn't more income, it's fewer empty years. For most people today, full retirement age is 67. You can claim as early as 62 and receive a permanently reduced benefit. Or you can delay past full retirement age and earn delayed retirement credits. Those credits increase your benefit by roughly 8% per year until age 70. After age 70, there's no benefit to waiting, so please don't wait longer than 70. This is where the always wait advice usually comes from. And to be clear, delaying can be an excellent decision, but only when it's evaluated in context. Quick pause. If this is helpful, like the video or subscribe. I focus on clarity over hype, and that helps more people find these conversations. Now, let's talk about what most analysis completely miss. Here's the part most break-even charts never show. If you delay Social Security and you're no longer working, you still need income. That income has to come from somewhere, right? Usually it comes from your portfolio. So the real question isn't, how do I maximize Social Security? It's, how do I coordinate Social Security with portfolio withdrawals taxes, and market risk. If delaying benefits requires heavy portfolio downdraws early in retirement, you may increase sequence of returns risk. You may lock in losses during market downturns. You could trigger higher tax brackets. You could reduce long-term flexibility. Sometimes claiming early preserves portfolio longevity and improves your overall plan. That doesn't mean early is always better. It means timing should be intentional, not ideological. And there's another part of Social Security planning that rarely gets discussed, but shows up in almost every real retirement conversation: psychology. On paper, delaying benefits can look optimal, but retirement isn't lived on paper. Many people underestimate how valuable certainty feels once paychecks stop. Social Security isn't just income. It's predictable income. It shows up every month. It adjusts for inflation. It doesn't care what markets are doing. And for some retirees, that reliability materially reduces stress. And reduced stress has a significant amount of value. I've worked with people who've had more than enough assets on paper, yet they still feel uneasy because too much of their lifestyle depended on portfolio withdrawals. In those cases, claiming Social Security earlier wasn't about maximizing dollars. It was more about stabilizing cash flow, restoring confidence, and providing peace of mind. And to me, that's what really matters. There's also a behavioral difference between receiving a guaranteed deposit and selling investments. Even when the math suggests both approaches are equivalent, the experience is not. And behavior affects outcomes. Plans that feel uncomfortable tend to get abandoned. Plans that feel stable tend to stick. That psychological element is real, and it deserves a seat at the planning table. Another overlooked factor is when retirement begins relative to market cycles. Sequence of returns risk doesn't care about long-term averages. It cares about the order in which returns occur. If the early years of retirement coincide with a market downturn, relying heavily on portfolio withdrawals while delaying Social Security can magnify damage that never fully heals. And in those scenarios, Social Security acts as a stabilizer. Not because it increases returns, but because it reduces forced selling. That distinction is critical. Two people with identical portfolios and identical Social Security benefits can have very different outcomes depending on how income is coordinated in the first 5 to 7 years of retirement. This is one of the biggest blind spots in generic Social Security advice. Let's talk about when claiming early is not reckless. Health and longevity reality. Longevity planning is not pessimism, it's realism. If health history suggests a shorter time horizon, maximizing lifetime income may matter more than maximizing monthly income. This isn't about predicting death. It's about acknowledging uncertainty and planning responsibly. Next, portfolio preservation. Social Security is guaranteed. It's inflation-adjusted income. If claiming early reduces pressure on your portfolio, that trade-off deserves real analysis. Sometimes protecting the portfolio early creates more flexibility later. There could be age or longevity gaps between spouses. This is one of the most misunderstood areas of Social Security planning. If one spouse is significantly older or has a shorter life expectancy, the younger spouse may eventually receive a survivor benefit anyway. In those cases, waiting to claim your own benefit may simply mean giving up years of income with no long-term advantage. And then family and dependent benefits. In specific situations, early claiming unlocks benefits that disappear if delayed. These situations are not common, but when they apply, they can materially change the decision. And then there's the cash flow reality. If the alternative to early claiming is high interest debt, forced asset sales, or unnecessary financial stress, early benefits may be the least risky option. See, planning is about trade-offs, not ideals. One thing many people don't realize is that Social Security decisions aren't always permanent. Depending on timing and age, some people can claim early, meet a temporary income need, then suspend benefits later, allowing them to grow again. This flexibility matters when income needs change. Maybe employment resumes or other assets come online. It's another reason rigid rules rarely produce the best outcome. And for married couples, Social Security planning is not about two separate decisions. It's about coordination. A spouse may be eligible for up to 50% of the other spouse's benefits. This often applies when one spouse earns significantly less, or maybe they stayed home for part of their career. Understanding when and how spousal benefits apply can materially increase household income, but only when timing is coordinated intentionally. This is where Social Security planning becomes deeply important. When one spouse passes away, the survivor is generally entitled to step into the higher of the two benefits. That means the higher earning spouse's claim decision often matters more than their own retirement income. The goal isn't just about maximizing income while both spouses are alive. It's protecting the surviving spouse, potentially for decades. This is one of the most overlooked areas of retirement planning in general. Social Security decisions ripple across your entire plan. They affect your tax brackets, your Medicare premiums, withdrawal sequencing, Roth conversion opportunities, portfolio sustainability, estate outcomes. That's why the best decisions are made as part of a coordinated plan, not a standalone analysis. There's no universally correct claiming age. There's only a coordinated decision, one that reflects your health, your family, your portfolio, your values. When Social Security is treated as a planning lever instead of a rule, it becomes one of the most powerful tools in retirement. And if you want more conversations like this, one that prioritizes clarity, context, and real planning, you'll want to stick around. This is the kind of thinking I walk clients through every day. And as always, like and follow for more ways to navigate your wealth and elevate your life. And if you're interested in working with me or with Flying Forward, I'll leave a link down in the bio where you can find out more information.